Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Keisha Clavon. I am the Director of Recruitment in the Graduate School at the University of South Carolina. So we are so thrilled to have all of you here, and certainly we want to extend a big thank you to our panelists for joining us this evening. As we shared in the session description, this is just an opportunity for you all to hear a little bit more from our graduate students who are in 100% or hybrid online programs and how they navigate those spaces. So we'll start with introductions from all of our panelists. So if you would just share your name, your program, maybe where you are in the country or in the world. And then I have some questions to ask of you, but certainly as admitted students, I invite you to either raise your hand and unmute your mics to ask questions, or if you want to drop it in the chat, feel free to do so as well. This is your session, so I want to make sure that you get the most out of it and you walk away with the answers that you want as a result of attending this session. So in no particular order, panelists, feel free to introduce yourselves and we'll take it from there.
I can go first. Can everyone hear me okay? My name is Faith Rankin. I'm in the Library and Information Science program. So I'll be graduating this spring. And right now I'm working as an Access Services Coordinator at a academic library. So I'm working at a technical college right now. So yeah, I'm excited to share some of the experiences that I've had in the program and meet everybody.
Next, can you hear me? So my name is DeMarcus Howard. I am working on my doctorate in education system improvement. I'm currently in Dallas, Texas, and I am a middle school assistant principal. I'm excited to hear the questions. I'm in my second semester of the doctoral program. This is my second degree that's fully online.
My name is Latasha Saunders. I am in my second year of the MLIS program on the general track with the emphasis of archives and special collections. I work at the University of South Carolina as a business manager in criminology and criminal justice, but I also do some archival work with the Center for Civil Rights History and Research.
I can go next. I'm Felicia Butler. I'm currently in the Doctorate of Education program focusing on curriculum studies. I just finished defending my dissertation on Tuesday, so graduating in May. And I am currently in Rock Hill, South Carolina, so not too far away, and high school social studies teacher and instructional coach.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tricuria Johnson, Try for short, like try to remember. I'm currently in my first year of the Masters of Education Administration program. I am a EAL teacher in Dakar, Senegal, teaching at the International School of Dakar. So it's currently 10:37 p.m. right now, but I'm excited to be on with you all and also to answer any questions and also to learn from the other panelists.
Well, I appreciate your time for sure. Thank you for joining us, for everyone, obviously. So we will kick the session off with the first question of, as you reflect on your educational experiences, be it online, obviously in person, what are some of those key differences between in-person and graduate programs, and what would be your advice for helping students adapt to a virtual learning environment?
One of my biggest takeaways from being online is having a space that's set to work in and knowing that that's where you're going to do your work at. Because starting off in online program, you want to do your work in the bed, and then next thing you know, the TV comes on and nothing happens after that. So just having that dedicated space to do your work, but also building connections like you are in the classroom, because you need people to talk to and ask those questions to.
I will say too, DeMarcus, I've had those similar experiences too, as I'm sure we all have had those. But I will say find really what works for you. So I noticed early in the program that I wasn't as productive at home. And so I will really try to, go to coffee shops and work, stay after work and utilize the spaces. So right now I'm still at work and I'm utilizing one of our collaboration spaces. So I just feel more productive when I'm in town still before I go home and kind of decompress. And so just finding what works for you, whether that be, at your work or at a coffee shop or at home.
Yeah, finding a good balance I've learned as well too. Most of us are full-time working professionals, so then trying to find a balance between work, school, and then some of us has families and children, finding a balance out of that as well too. Another thing that I did or have learned through this experience is because it was a virtual setting mainly, trying to connect with those persons that are within your program and seeing if you all could meet in mutual places. Like some of the people in the cohort that came in with me, we would meet in Durham because that was like the middle ground for everybody, just so we could kind of like, collaborate and get together about the different things that we're learning within the program and kind of help each other. And then finding those people within your city who are there more so on a daily or weekly basis where you can connect to.
And then I'll just add in like pacing yourself is definitely a different struggle compared to in person. Going to college in person, it's like, okay, I have classes and I'm going to these sessions, and so I have these reminders. But when you're online, it's kind of all up to you. So figuring out whatever system's going to work for you, like some other people had mentioned, like I have an agenda that I use for work to keep track of lesson plans, but then I would also add in all the due dates for my assignments in there too. And trying to pace myself. It was very reading heavy, my program, so I would do the readings throughout the week and then the like whatever the work, the papers, the discussion post, whatever it was on the weekend. So trying to like divvy that work up throughout the whole week instead of just all in one day.
I would like to add, time management is something that's essential for myself. I'm not sure if anyone on the call is abroad or in a different time zone. So just making sure, like I said, calendar reminders. I have like several alarms so that, I'm not missing class or missing any big assignments. So that has really helped me tremendously with my time management. And then for me, I don't have an option but to do my class at home. I'm not going to stay to school too late. So I actually got like a comfortable chair that I can sit in and, be able to do my work. So I'm in like a classroom setting.
Thank you all so much. So Leonard, I see that your hand is raised. Please feel free to ask your question.
Well, my name is Leonard Parker, and I'm a doctoral student in the Educational Practice and Innovation program with a concentration in STEM science education. I'm actually returning to the program. I started in 2022 and had some health issues, and I had to withdraw. So I'm coming back in. This is my fourth degree online. And one of the questions I would have for the panelist is a challenge that I ran up against. I'm curious to see if you have too and how you resolved it. When we had team assignments, which every class almost inevitably has, what did you do for the situations when you could not get 100% participation by your team members? In other words, out of a team of four, three of you were rocking and rolling and the other was coasting along. So how did you nudge that fourth person if you had that encounter? And what would you suggest for us?
I'm gonna jump in there because I just actually recently had this situation happen to us. We were in 704, which is a class where we have it's heavy group work, heavy group projects. We had to create our own grant situation. So it was in that we had 4 people, very active at the beginning, and then the hurricane happened. And when the hurricane happened, we lost somebody. We lost a group member. So we kept trying to contact her. And for weeks, we didn't even say anything to our professor, but our professor already knew. So then our professor said, stop putting her name on the assignments. I knew everything was going on. So what I would suggest to you is to just reach out to the person. If they don't essentially um communicate back with you all, I would just go to your professor and say, hey, we have 3 people who have been very active in the process of us doing this project, but this person hasn't been responsive. We've been trying to get in contact with him or her, and we have not been successful. Please see if you can reach out, and if you can reach out, we would love to extend, you know, grace and trying to figure out how we can integrate them back into the project. If they don't want to integrate themselves back into the project, just make sure you let the professor know that you all did your due diligence in trying to communicate with that person.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I've had those experiences before throughout the program. I would just say don't wait until it's too late as well, because you don't want to put too much pressure on your group, because a lot of those assignments are meant for 4 people or more. So you don't want to take on work that you're not going to be able to do. So I would just say, if you're not hearing anything the first couple times, um, give them some time to respond, but just don't wait throughout the whole semester.
So everyone, I apologize. I should have kicked off the panel with this question, but I think it's helpful for other admitted students and even students who are exploring, even applying to USC and considering an online program. Of all the options that you had, especially if you were exploring flexible online programs like the ones that USC offers, what were some of the key factors in your decision to choose USC?
I
Fan.
would say,
Oh, go ahead.
you sure, DeMarcus? Okay. For me, I would say, for me, it was important to like have a program that was connecting back to my roots. So I'm originally from South Carolina. And so I wanted to take it back home. I had my bachelor's degree from Howard University in Washington, D.C., but I wanted to do an online program where I could really feel connected and have a sense of community, especially being so far away. So that's why in USC, it has really great, amazing programs, nationally ranked as well. So that was a key component in why I chose this program.
Would say that one of the top reasons was faculty, looking at the faculty that were a part of the program, and also reaching out to the coordinator for the program. The coordinator for my program is Dr. Tran. So when I sent him an email, like within hours, I got a response like, "Hey, here goes the answer to all of your questions." So when anybody's that responsive to me, and out of all the programs I'm looking at, this person that does not know me, I'm not admitted into the program, I'm just looking into it, obviously cares, and I'm going to believe that he also cares about the students within that program. So the faculty was number one, and then the responsiveness of answering the questions that I have that aren't on the website was extremely helpful for me as well.
I had a friend or coworker who had gone through the program, so that was really big because I talked to her and she had a really good positive experience with the curriculum studies program. So that was definitely a key determinant for me. So if possible, like if you know somebody who's gone through the program at USC or just in general, reach out to somebody. I know that the curriculum studies has like a Facebook group and you can go and find people there. So just reaching out to people who have gone through the program and seeing, how it went for them, that can be huge. That's what helped me decide for USC. And my bachelor's is from USC, so that didn't help or that didn't hurt either.
For me,
I'm
it was
also,
the determining factor of I love. Sorry.
no, you go ahead.
Determining factor for me is, I was very familiar with some of the colleagues in that program, working with them through other things outside of being in the program, and the fact that working at USC, you get a party, like one of your classes free. So it was like a no-brainer for me. But the program itself, the general track program, it really helps you get in line to be whatever you choose within that track. And the responsiveness of our grad school, our the iSchool itself, we get emails like every other day with different opportunities. So it's like tremendous opportunity in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, sometimes some abroad. So and then I had a friend who was in the program. So because I knew somebody was in the program and knew the steady pace of it, it was like a no-brainer for me.
So very similar for me, and we're in the same program. So all of those things have been true for me as well. But definitely the responsiveness. I worked as a library assistant, and so that librarian had gone through the program and had nothing but great things to say. And then I also wanted a sense of community. And I know in the MLIS program, there's opportunities for conferences. And so I wanted to be able to take advantage of those opportunities and meet my professors. And so since I'm from South Carolina, I kind of wanted to stay close to home so I would have those opportunities.
Thank you so much. So one of the themes that I'm hearing is about the community. And so certainly when you're in an online environment, you have to be a bit more intentional about that community. So can you share a little bit more about, I know there have been some comments about, meeting in Durham, but I would love to hear a bit more from the panelists about that intentionality about establishing community, whether you can physically be in person or still connect in a virtual environment.
I think one thing I will say about that is sometimes you make the opportunities. So I know in my program, there have been certain assignments that were individual assignments, but you would have that option to work as a group. And so that's a great way to connect with other people in your program. And sometimes there are challenges there with group work. There may be an individual that's not contributing, but I haven't found that most of the time. I've found that group work can be really great and a great way to connect.
I would say like early on trying to find somebody that you kind of connect with through like discussion posts or like somebody who like has a very similar style to getting their work done as you do, and maybe just emailing them and be like, "Hey, can I get your phone number so we can like, kind of communicate?" And it's been really helpful even if you just have one person, because sometimes there's times where I'm like, are we on the same page? Like I'm got questions about something, but I don't want to necessarily email the professor about them. I just want to see if, I'm kind of interpreting this the same way. So it can be really helpful to just have somebody to send a quick text to be like, is this what you're thinking, or what, how are you doing with this assignment or whatever it is. So if nobody else is reaching out, then you can always just send them an email and say, hey, can we connect and, kind of work through this program together.
Yeah, I would agree. And then I'll say in the concentration I'm in the doctoral program, one of our first professors, she created a directory. She was like, if you want your information to be put here, just share it with me. So she put our emails and our phone numbers in there, and then our area of focus that we wanted in our dissertation, so that we'll have those connections, so that as we're reading articles and making connections, that they're there, but also being intentional about connecting with at least one person that you can go to and be like, hey, can we talk about this? Hey, I read this article and I don't know what I just read. So let's reason through this together. It's been good. And the people within the cohort that I'm in, when you reach out, they're always there. So it's really about being intentional about making those connections and then sustaining those connections after.
So to add on to that, the first class I had with Dr. Erin Roberts, she told us to connect with one person, like via chat or something. So when people were putting in their chats, I just decided to jot down everyone's contact and made like a quick little group chat so that, if we ever had any questions, etc., or, things that we needed to troubleshoot, that we could do that. And it really actually helped because our next class, a few of us had trouble logging in, and then we were able to kind of help each other. Now, we don't talk every day in the chat, but it is useful when needed.
I'll add one more thing. One of the first ones I had, Dr. Cunningham, without us knowing that she like forced us to connect, she was like, your homework is to do a writing sprint. So you need to connect with someone and take 30 minutes and you all be on Zoom and just write for the 30 minutes and don't do nothing else but write. And we literally just logged in on Zoom. It was accountability partners to write for those 30 minutes. So the professors are also intentional for us to make those connections.
Usually, too, just to add to that, there's typically an introduction post at the beginning of the semester, and that really opens up opportunities to connect with people. So you usually share your name and where you're from, and just a little bit about you. So you can also go back and read through those introduction posts if your classes have those.
So we certainly talked about the positive aspects, connecting with your peers, but let's transition to some challenges in terms of being in an online environment or just in graduate school period, right? So can you share like what was maybe one or even more, if you have them, some of the biggest challenges that you faced during your online graduate studies and how did you overcome it?
For me, it was trying to figure out like being somebody who was 20 years removed out of school, trying to figure out like how to get back in there, how to be able to communicate with professors who may not be very communicative email wise, but want have text conversations instead, and being able to just figure out how to balance those things of um, not being able to get through a barrier of work or trying to figure out how to bridge a gap with a teacher that teaching style you don't understand. Like it's one teacher we had that nobody was getting it, and we created this big group, and we still wasn't getting it. But by the end of the program, we all end up figuring it out together. But just trying to find ways, like in that regard, to navigate those type of situations.
I think somebody said it earlier, work-life balance, like balancing work and then having to complete the amount of work that master's level or doctoral level requires. Anybody who has a middle school age child, who worked in a middle school, know that when I leave this building, I am wore out. And I don't want to read anything. I don't want to write anything. But I have to
We
balance it.
apologize. We apologize. I got a 12-year-old. I'm
So
sorry.
you know exactly where I'm at.
My bad.
You get So I live off of my calendar. Like I literally say, I'm gonna read this article tonight, and I have to go home and read that one article because I can't go home and read all 5 articles in one night. I just have to balance it. So work-life balance was the hardest part, but I learned to truly become a lot more organized. I have a whiteboard on my wall at home now. I write it down, I cross it out when I get home. Yeah, I really just have to balance everything.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, I
definitely my
think,
biggest challenge. Oh, sorry.
no, go
Oh,
ahead, Felicia.
okay. I have two young kids, and one of whom like I had during the program, like was pregnant, had my baby. And so that was definitely like a challenge, was managing the time with them and trying to front load as much of the work as I could when I knew I was getting ready to have my son. So if you know that some big life event, even if it's just a vacation, like as much as you can try to front load some work. Um, when you know that those things pop up, obviously emergencies and things happen that you can't control, but as much as you can try to like manage your time and um build in the fun time too, you know.
Yeah, I would say time management has been my biggest challenge as well. And I've learned that, you know, blocking out time has really been helpful for me, and having a very detailed schedule. I don't like to create that schedule because I don't like to see the time, you know, filling up, but it really is necessary for me to just get everything done, to plan out the beginning of the week, exactly what I'm going to do when.
For your responses there. Let's talk about, I heard a lot about time management, whiteboards and such. Are there any additional tools like apps and other resources that you all have used to assist with time management? I'm just curious.
So for me, I use like the notes on my computer or my phone. So what I do is I read through the syllabus and then I go through and make a note of all of the assignments and exams, and so that I can like click and put a little check mark once it's done. So even though I'm like looking at the syllabus, I still have that extra, checklist for myself just to make sure that I'm on track with everything. So that's something that I use to help me.
Yeah, this isn't really a strategy, but I think Felicia mentioned this earlier, but I like to use the same program for both work and school. I just feel like it's a little less overwhelming for me to have my work things and my school things in one place, so I'm not having to go between different accounts to do that. And so I will try to put those due dates on my work calendar as well, just to help keep me organized.
I agree, but for me, I didn't have a choice. So, like, because I work at USC, we have the same email address as our work email address as a student. So, I have set up folder rules to separate my schoolwork and my regular work because it gets real murky. I have two different signatures. I have a student signature and I have my signature for my business stuff. So like when I'm emailing a colleague who may be my professor, I'm using a student one and they're like, "Oh, that's weird." Okay. But like setting it up like that, I agree, like just being able to keep it organized. I usually use the same calendar and then I kind of integrate my family calendar within it too, but I make them private so it won't be visible to those who may have access to my calendar.
I'll just say when I clicked on the link for this meeting too, it was trying to log me in with my work email, and I'm like, no, how do I switch to my school email? So yeah, I've had those same things where I get confused on which calendar I'm on.
So it's not uncommon in our online programs for students to be what we would call non-traditional students, working professionals, right? Who might have been several years removed from their undergraduate degrees or not. So with your responsibilities as employees, your family responsibilities, obviously your school responsibilities, how have you maintained that time? I know self-care is a buzzword, but for you to kind of recalibrate and have that balance that you need to be, successful in all the areas that you wish to be? What are some of those things that you do maybe to take time just for yourself?
So for me, at the beginning, I didn't have balance at all. And I tell people now, look, you got to get sleep. I wasn't sleeping. I was working and doing all the things. I was coming home during my lunch and cooking for my family, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. I was maintaining like my work stuff, like within the work day, but then I was trying to do some school stuff on the side too, just a little bit. But no, for myself, I decided to say Saturday is for me. Like I don't do anything school related on Saturday unless I have a major project, and usually I'll do my best to get everything done within that Sunday to Friday time frame. Like I get up, I go walking with my father, I go to Soda City, which is our outside market, and then I'll go to sleep or I'll do something else. May do some stuff with my sorority, but that's my time for myself on Saturday. Any other day is like game on for school. But I tell any new person in any admitted program, prioritize sleep, prioritize yourself, prioritize your family, because it can be hard. I can only imagine having small children, trying to be a grad student having small children. My children are very self-sufficient, so I'm lucky. I have a 12-year-old and about to be 16-year-old on Saturday, and they're able to kind of help mommy navigate certain things. My 12-year-old can cook like I can, so sometimes if I don't cook, he'll cook for the family or he'll step in. So just trying to find those balances and stuff like that is very important. So I tell anybody who's in any admitted program, just sacrifice that time for yourself because you'll appreciate it more and you're more fresh and you'll be able to do what you need to do for your program.
I agree. I have certain things that I do that I think of as non-negotiables now. So I time block, and if it's on that calendar, that's what I'm going to do. So I like to go work out at certain times, and it's easy to put that off and say, well, no, I'm not going to do that because I have this assignment due. But time blocking and sticking to those non-negotiables has really helped me. Like um, I've started assignments earlier because of that, because I know that that's coming up and I'm like, I'm going to do that thing. So time blocking has really helped me with that.
I'm the same. Like I told myself, I live by this now that work will be here tomorrow. So at 10:30, I'm not doing nothing else. Not for work, not for school work, because it'll be here tomorrow. And I'm a outdoors person and I like to work out. So every day, even if I don't hit the gym, I'm going on like a 2 mile walk. Like when I get off work, just to decompress from work before I start schoolwork. And those are just non-negotiables. I gotta be in the right mindset to even go read or to go do the writing for it. So my strongest thing is work will be here tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the mindset is definitely huge. Like I would always, want to just once I put the kids to bed, I'm like, all right, I'm tired too. But just telling myself like, no, I'm gonna, stay up. I need to get this accomplished before I go to bed and just really sticking to it as much as possible. With my kids, they go to bed like pretty early, like 7 o'clock, 7:30. So I set that time from 7 to 9 or 10 o'clock for we're doing schoolwork during the week. So then I have the weekends to actually have free time. And so sticking to that routine, sticking to that schedule was key for that.
I was trying to use my teacher wait time to make sure that there weren't any additional comments for that particular question. Thank you all. So in terms of your graduate programs, how do you feel like it has contributed to your professional development? And I would love to hear a little bit more about what you plan to do with this degree, particularly for those of you who are graduating in May, right? In just a few months.
It has opened like professional doors for me. I'm not in the profession currently daily. I do volunteer work with the center currently, helping with archiving collections that they've collected through community members. But I've bridged some beautiful gaps and learned to have different relationships with community members, with other archivists. On the Eastern Board, it's only like 2 Black lead archivists. So one is at North Carolina Central. His name is Andre Vance. He's an amazing mentor of mine. And the other is a young lady who works in Virginia, at Virginia State. Beautiful people, and they're very good uh, mentors. For me, I want to be a project archivist. So these touches and the things that I'm learning for teaching community members and teaching persons who want to be in academic libraries, these different skills have been profound for me. So those are some of the things. I don't graduate till December, but I plan on after my program about maybe 6 months to a year going into that profession.
I know for me, my programs definitely made me a lot more confident going into interviews. And like I'd interviewed for an instructional coach position, and I felt much more confident in my knowledge of curriculum and how to like kind of speak that vernacular. So it's definitely helped with that aspect of it. I've been applying for a couple of higher ed jobs here and there, so we'll see where I end up after this year. But the program definitely opened a lot of doors for me, which I'm really excited about seeing where it goes.
My programs also helped open those doors. So I am working in the field now. But I would say I just recognize so many more people. So when I attend conferences, I've seen some of my professors there. So building those connections and that network has been really great. I'm also working closely with Pascal, so academic libraries that partner to borrow and lend materials. So I'm doing those requests and meeting new people and trying to expand those partnerships. So the program has really just become part of my network, both for school and for work. So it's been really great to make those connections and see familiar faces at conferences.
It's challenged my thinking. So being in school leadership and then being in improvement, a systems improvement program is truly challenged my thinking about like how we operate and run school buildings. So it's giving me a new lens to look at while at work. And then moving forward, I hope to be able to work at the state level and do some school improvement work.
I would agree that the professional aspect of what we are going to be learning, or maybe already have learned, will carry us on through and advance our careers. I don't know if I have a career ahead of me. This is a professional goal that I had set for myself that I put on back burner while we raised our family. So I have a wonderful wife who is supportive of my effort in doing this program. So if I don't accomplish anything other than end up with a degree, that's number one that I've been trying to get to anyway. But I do have some aspirations, and that is really to either become a consultant around teaching biological sciences in different approaches and in using different ways that engage students more at the middle and high school level. I don't feel like we're doing that presently. I was a media specialist. For those of you who are librarians, that's one of my masters. I was a media specialist both in a high school and in a middle school. And I've also been a substitute teacher as well as a prior career as a scientist for 35 years. So I do have some hands-on experience, which for me, based on what Latasha said, she was concerned about coming back into a program. I'm less concerned about that because I feel like that she and I'll say me for sure, we may be old and gray, but I think we have a lot of fortuitousness about our understanding of the fields that we perhaps would not have had at a younger age. So I think it's an advantage for us. And I've noticed when I've done teamwork with younger people in the program that they have relied on my expertise. Perhaps I'd already done some of what the project was we were attempting to put some focus on. So I found that really a self-confidence builder, and it reinforced that those things that I learned in a prior career and in prior master's programs, I could put to use. So I find that very rewarding. And the second most important thing that I have noted is when I graduated from NC State with my master's in science education, it sort of started my thought process off about doing this doctoral work and potentially the world I would like to find myself working in terms of the dissertation. And many of those same articles, authors, thought processes, etc., that I learned back then, and I graduated in 2023, so it hadn't been that long ago. But many of those same things have carried right into the doctoral work. So I think that will reignite my interest in some of the learning that I had back at NC State and let me tap into a little bit different level and apply that more at the doctoral level than perhaps I even was familiar with before. So those would be my summation points.
I think for me, just continuing to expand my knowledge base and then opportunities such as this, like even being a part of this panel, I'm learning so much from you all being in your PhD program. So honestly, it's an honor to even, be amongst you all and hear you all speak so eloquently and all of the insights that you bring as well. And ultimately, my goal is to be a head of school or director of an international school, and then eventually in my career, start my own.
Thank you all so much. And so as we close out this session, I have one final question. What are your general tips or guidance or advice maybe that you would have given yourself a year or two ago when you first started this program? So anything to share with our admitted and prospective students who are exploring taking this path?
Get some sleep. Make sure you sleep. Nah, just balance and sleep.
I would say build good habits now because it's a lot harder once you've gotten to this rut to get out of it. And also, like we mentioned, I think everybody's mentioned a little bit, is making connections with at least one person in the program. Just have somebody to vent to, if nothing else. Just somebody that you can go to and ask questions and talk to.
I personally think it's very important to stay on top of the syllabus requirements. Don't wait till the last minute to start working on projects, nor to work on individual assignments. I think like some others have said, the use of the calendar is an outstanding tool. And I think you just have to be disciplined about this. I think if you're paying for it like I am out of pocket, there's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be much more diligent with my effort to pull this off. But even if I were on a scholarship or whatever it might be, I think it's really important for us that we have to stay on top of the game, stay ahead when you can. It's so easy to want to relax some night, but it may not be the appropriate night. You might need to do a little extra work and stay up a little longer than normal, but just stay ahead of the game if possible.
Say the biggest thing that I've learned is stay organized, know the way that you learn. So if the professor uploads the reading online and you're not a good online reader, print it out, and make connections both with your classmates and your professors. I've learned that the professors are not scared. They are not scary people. Go to them, ask the questions, and if you don't know the answer to or they didn't answer, tell them they didn't answer my question, and they are willing to take that time with you. I've learned so ask those questions, make connections, and really just stay organized.
Yeah, I would say definitely stay organized and stay ahead of the game, but also give yourself some grace. Your professors understand when life happens. And so some professors will give you grace days. And I was always throughout the program so scared of taking a grace day. And really, towards the end of my program, I gave myself that grace of like sometimes life happens and it's just, you're going to need it. And that's what it's there for. So definitely don't take advantage and slack off, but definitely just give yourself grace when you need it.
I would say believe in yourself. You had the vision to start the program for a reason. So, believe in yourself to be able to see it through. You have it in you already. So.
Thank you all. I see one question in the chat, and I'm pretty sure I can answer it based on what you all shared, but please feel free to chime in. In terms of connecting with students in your cohort, as we get closer to the start of the semester, so obviously in August for you, your program might host an orientation where you have the opportunity to connect with students. And certainly in those first few days and few weeks of classes, the panelists were mentioning the introductory posts and other opportunities for students within the cohort or just in general within the program to connect. So there will be some opportunities to more intentionally connect and know the students in your program. Is that fair? Is that okay? All right. Well, I will give you back 5 minutes of your time. Thank you so much for your guidance and expertise and the information that you share. We are so grateful for that, and I know that this information will be helpful for our students as they continue to explore and hopefully commit to the University of South Carolina. So thank you again. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.